Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition. And today we are going to talk about courage. Where we get our courage from. And how little courage we have in our human consciousness. And how we really try to stick to the blueprint of what it is to be a good little human, and to follow into the human footsteps and do everything we have to do as humans. Now, the more we do that, the more we placate into our human experience, which is what we're supposed to do. We agree to come in and be unconscious, and the rest of our time we're always trying to wake back up. Our whole human existence is trying to wake us back up. Every unconscious act that happens just gives us fuel to wake up. It acts as an activation note to wake us up. So the more deeply we go into our human experience, the more things are activating us to wake us up, because it's so distorted in there that the deeper we go, the older we get, we just get more and more activated to realize that it's very distorted. So we get more and more kind of pushed out of the nest, in a sense, but we don't see it like that when we're in the middle of it. We just see it as just human things. That's how it is. That's how life is. It's not fair. It's all these things. We have so many iterations of our timelines in our human existence where some things happen and we're like, oh, that's great, and you will have, every time I talk about our human experiences, I feel like even my human experiences, I feel like we kind of paint them as they're all terrible. And it's not that they're terrible. It's just that you never could achieve happiness for long periods of time. It ebbed and it flowed because our consciousness of our body is so low, our frequency is so low, it can't hold happiness. So when you get into higher consciousness realities, you notice you don't have those ebbs and flows anymore. You don't have the highs and highs and highs, or the lows and lows and lows. Your set point's higher. Your body consciousness frequency is higher. You live in a happiness frequency. You don't have to just touch it every once in a while and then go back down to your normal human frequency, which sets in the threes. Whereas when you're talking about happiness, it sets in the fives, the 500s. And so you can see the disconnect. And that's why we only kind of touch it here and there. But one of the big pivotal things that starts to happen is we get our courage. And consciousness leads us to courage, because we start to understand that we have to do certain things. And there's a big push for us to leave the human realities behind. The more conscious we become, we're able to see more, we're able to understand more, we're able to feel, I really need to do this. And this will happen in our awakening. It'll happen in the beginning of our ascension, where we kind of feel like, it's almost, to me, I always feel like it was kind of pushed. I always felt really squished with something I had to do, and I couldn't get it off my mind. But it wasn't like the human mind, it wasn't like my body is thinking about something. And, because when we think about our thoughts, we act like they're in our head, they're in our body, It's just we hear them through our ears and our head, but they're in our whole body. So our whole body is giving off that frequency, whatever that thought is, that's our whole body frequency. We have a lot of different frequencies going on, because we also have a lot of different thoughts going on. But when you start to understand a higher conscious thing you have to do, and something you have to get to the next stage in your process, you have to bust through this fear. And a lot of the beginning years for us in ascension is busting through our fears and walking away from human realities, walking away from human beliefs, walking away, being the weird person to go kind of against the grain on stuff. And just move away from these things, kind of collapse the collectives by leaving that collective behind. And that's always how it works. Collectives don't fall by the infighting. That kind of just fuels everyone fighting against each other. The collectives fall when people move out of the collectives. You can look back in different timelines, and people, different generations die off, and different things change. Different things those collectives can't hold anymore, because there's no one in the collective anymore. But now we don't wait for people to leave the collective through death. And in some cases that's not going to be true. But for the point I'm trying to make is we understand that we don't have to leave it that way. We can just walk away from it anytime we want to. The only thing keeping us here is we believe we have to be here. We believe we have to be in that human experience. It's like that old, just that picture on the tarot card where the woman is blindfolded and surrounded by knives, and I can't remember which one it is. I can't remember what tarot card it is, but she's not even tied up. She just walk away whenever she wanted to, but she just didn't really see that. She didn't really want to see that I could just walk away whenever I want to. I'm gonna just kind of stay all up in this shit, because this is what I have to do. Because we feel like there's a lot of guilt of us leaving it behind. We have to release all that guilt. We have to resolve all that guilt for us to leave all these realities behind. But there takes a lot of courage to be able to do that. And that is when we talk about consciousness really feeds into courage, and courage feeds into more consciousness, because they're kind of like, they go hand in hand. They're two sides of the same coin. It's a courageous act to leave and go against the grain, in a sense, and walk away from these realities and walk away from these collectives and go build something else. And it will make us walk through all of our fears, and it'll make us become so courageous because we know we have to go that way. We understand I have to go that way. There's no other way for me to go. This is the only way. I have got to go this way. It's got to be this way. And that's not something that a lot of us will say a lot in our human existence. But I'm going to take that back. We do say it, but we say it in a different frequency. Like, oh, it's the way it is. Oh, it has to be this way. That's from a very victim state of being kind of stuck in those realities, in those human collectives, those human realities, because our consciousness depicts our reality. If we're in our human consciousness, we're in a human reality. That's how it works. But there's a different frequency of which we say it. We'll say it like, oh, this is how it has to be. Oh, this is how it is. This is how it works in these realities. In a sense, that's true. It is how it works in those realities. When we start leaving them behind and we understand that we have other things we have to do, we understand these are how we build new realities. These are how new things get built. These are how we walk away. These are how we bust through our fears. We're going to do these things. I mean, the first, videos I didn't do them because the content I was putting out was so pivotal at the time, but I had to do it to break the fear of doing it. It wasn't really about anything I put out. It didn't even matter. It was about doing it. It was about being courageous. It was about stepping out of the shadows, in a sense, stepping into the limelight, stepping into a different genre, putting yourself out there. It wasn't about anything I said. Nothing I said, I would, it'd be nice to come on and say it was the most pivotal shit you were ever going to hear in some of the videos I did. But it wasn't, it just wasn't. But it busted through the program. It busted through the fear. It busted through, and after a while, there was no fear on getting on camera to do anything. Live events didn't bother me. Interviews didn't bother me. Nothing bothered me because I busted through. I had the courage to walk through it because I knew I had to. For a while, we're doing it because we still think we're going to achieve what our human would say is a successful reality. So there's a while we will bust through so much courage to get to this, I want this heaven-like reality, not realizing that heaven is not a human reality. But when we get to these heavenly realities, we see, oh yeah, this human reality sucked compared to, there's no comparison to these realities. But because we haven't remembered a heavenly reality, we just say, okay, it'll be a successful human reality equals a heavenly reality. And that's not how it works. That's not what it is. Those are two completely different frequencies. A heavenly reality has the energies of divinity to them. It has the energies of peace and joy and just complete unity and unity consciousness and oneness. And it's a totally different than a human reality. But even in the beginning, when I was starting to know I have to do this, I remember the day I knew I had to do it. I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do videos. I don't want to have to do any of that stuff. I don't want to do that. It took me maybe 7 hours to get ready to do like a 2-minute video. Because I just didn't want to do it. It took me that long, but I did it. And then I did another one. And then I kept doing it until hundreds of videos later, it was easier. It didn't matter. It didn't matter who watched them. It didn't matter if anybody watched them. I didn't care. It was just the act of doing it opened the portal to something else. It opened the opportunity up for something else. It opened up the consciousness for other consciousness to come in. And we understand that. even if we still have a distorted view of what it's trying to bring in, we understand we have to do it. But not from a worry place of if I don't do it, it's from a missed opportunity if I don't do it. Human realities, we feel forced to do things, and I don't want to not do it and get in trouble. I don't want to not do it and be a not be a good human. I don't want to not do it and be judged. Here, it's a different flip of that energy where it's like, I don't want to not do it and prolong all these amazing realities I want to have. I don't want to not do it and miss out on an opportunity that might open up, that might not open up again for 4 or 5 years, because opportunities in these realms are like that. An opportunity might present. And if we don't walk through the fear and find our courage and get that opportunity, we might not see that opportunity again for years down the road. Because they don't stay portals to these opportunity portals don't stay open forever. They'll close out. Just like when we take ourselves out of a reality to another person in that reality, we were an opportunity for higher consciousness activation. But if that person was never open to that, or they never had the courage to step through the door, we leave the door ajar and we keep moving and we move on. And to them, we become a missed opportunity because we're not there anymore. We're gone now. And that's the same thing that will happen with our opportunities. We'll see it as an opportunity. We might even know what that opportunity is, and it'll definitely, I promise you, it'll come in whatever the opportunity is not going to come like you thought it was going to come. It's not going to come in a human reality package. It's going to come totally out of left field. It might not even look like anything, because most of the realities I remember, I thought, oh my God, that could be an amazing reality. Never amounted to anything. And the ones that I thought, I don't think that's going to matter, it's not going to really be anything, they became the bigger realities because it was backwards. The ones that I thought would be big were not, or they just never kind of came in, they never came to fruition, because there was still a kind of a human distortion on them. And that's why maybe they seemed flashier in the beginning for me, and why they felt bigger to me, because there was still a lot of my own human stuff going on, wanting that one to work. And that immediately made it karmic, where it was going to fail anyway, so it didn't matter. So when you're looking at your courage, look at what you have to muster up. Look at what you're supposed to muster up. You'll know when you have to do something. You will feel it, because our human will procrastinate. That's why it takes so long for a human to do anything, because it procrastinates, doesn't want to do it. Part of, I did a video on aligning realities, and part of that's just getting up and doing it. Whatever it is, again, to align a reality one day might be something simple like making a phone call, and that aligns that reality and closes that reality out. But a human procrastinates all that. So all of a sudden it has so many realities that just are no longer aligned, because it just procrastinates and they all just kind of cave in. So having the courage to do what you feel needs to be done is, in a sense, aligning a reality. It's just how we align a reality. We have to find our courage. We have to find that strength to do these things that our human doesn't want to do. And the more fear, the bigger the portal is going to be. The bigger it is, the bigger opportunities are going to open up. Just don't be surprised when they don't show up the way you think they're going to show up. They'll show up completely backwards. It's just not going to be the way you think. But they're going to be awesome. They're just not going to come in the package you thought they were going to come in, or by the people you thought we're gonna come in and have a reality with you. And you're like, oh, and eventually we start to really hone in on that and understand that. And then you'll get to the point where you'll understand, you'll be able to pick the people out that you're gonna have a reality with, and you're just gonna know. I used to say I knew because I had business with that person. I'd have to see him one time, and I knew. It might not be now, it might be 5 years from now, but at some point I got business with you, and I just knew it. I had a contract with that person. I had an agreement with that person. I was something I was going to do, and that person, consciously didn't know that, and I wasn't going to consciously tell them that. It didn't matter what they knew, it mattered what I knew in that sense. And it just was kind of like, oh, okay, I got business there. So, okay, I guess that'll kind of, I'm trying to think of anything else I can bring in. I think that's probably it on that one. So, okay, keep practicing the art of intuition.